Hi everyone, my name is Julius and I'm excited to show you what I've been working on for the final submission of our AI strategy course. It's a Kite agent that lets the wind call you in if you really want to and if that's your hobby. So my problem was that I missed a kitesurf opportunity because I didn't check the forecast for the wind and weather conditions properly. I might have no deeper knowledge about the spots surrounding me because I'm traveling, or I just believed that it didn't really fit in my schedule, but I hadn't really checked well because I didn't feel like opening my calendar. So my goal was to make all of these things kind of take them out of my mind and just let the session come to me. So an AI system that monitors weather and swell conditions across kitesurfing spots, matches them to my or your personal preferences and kind of equipment quiver, and then schedules and notifies you about that session. And then you can just integrate it straight within your calendar. So you never miss a kitesurf opportunity again. And to get a bit of a better feeling for that use case, I am gonna give you this little walkthrough example. So it's Thursday evening, my calendar shows I'm free on Friday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and the forecast for my closest spot is like maybe 30 minutes away. That predicts that there's going to be amazing kitesurf conditions, and my AI assistant notifies me at 6 p.m. Okay, there's a session and offers directions, and for me to confirm and kind of opt in to have the session. So that's what I wanted to do. And to implement the whole thing, I chose N8N. For the ones that don't know it, N8N is a no-code automation platform that lets you connect apps and services to create custom workflows like an AI system, for example, what I did here. Yeah, and it allowed me for kind of rapid prototyping. It's all very like visually appealing and easily understandable and super customizable. So I'm very happy with that choice. Yep. And just to touch a little bit closer on how AI is important for my project. First, I'd say that AI allows for like the personalization at a bigger scale. So even if the app extracts general, or like even if there's kind of general wind windows where it might be good for the general kite surfer to go, there might be some people that with their gear or kind of skill and preferences, they shouldn't go. So the app is going to allow for that kind of personalization. Then second, AI will make it heaps easier to choose between outlined opportunities. So because it filters complex data like wind, distance, travel time into clear, timely recommendations. And third, it's kind of playing with an evolution potential in terms of platform interface. And that's where the real AI is going to come in, or where it's going to be more like our course kind of AI style. And that's when the agent will kind of be transformed or moved to platforms with a better UI, like Voice UI or Telegram or other apps that feel a little bit more agent-like. That's when it's going to become a real kitesurf agent. All right, and talking about the uniqueness of the project, so the unique value and implementation strategy. First, I needed to find out if something similar already exists. I checked on there is an AI for this. That website showed that there's not really something similar. I found an app that's called Blowy that does give you some minor, like some kind of recommendations, but it's not as much of a personalized experience as you would have, for example, with an AI agent that you chat with, and that really knows the wind conditions and can check on all of these things for you. So I decided that it would be a clear and good idea that there's kind of a market gap where I can squeeze myself into with that project. And as I already said, N8N is great for drawing on external APIs. It has a low code adaptability, so the cool thing about that is that I am not at all experienced at building things like this, and this is where N8N really holds a lot of value and opportunity for people like me that are not developers or that aren't really data scientists. And the whole thing is built with kind of scalability in mind, and that it's supposed to be able to grow and have different interfaces in the future. And in the following slide, I'd like to run you through my prototyping process, which was very fun for me and kind of the aha moment and the AI moment that I had in this course for myself. It's not so much the product or the prototype that I developed, but more like the feeling of, wow, I can build this relatively fast with no prior knowledge. And that wouldn't have been possible without ChatGPT as an actual kind of assistance and then this intuitive tool. So that was really, really like eye-opening and pretty cool to see that I could actually do this. So yeah, so one important learning just that I want to touch on briefly that I have had with ChatGPT is that as we also talked in the course for a moment, I think that it has this over like confirmation bias, the way it's going to always tell you that you're on the right path even though you're not, and you can actually prompt it to kind of zoom out, to be very critical with your own and reflective with your own strategy is a good idea too, and do that in conversation with the agent with ChatGPT. That are kind of the tips and takeaways that I can give you, especially for me as a person who wasn't really knowing what it's doing and gave more of the whole kind of roadmap and so on. Once it was developed, I let AI hold that roadmap for me and I'm like, okay, what comes next in the process, and then it would tell me. So that has been very helpful. And now touching on my prototyping, just briefly, here you can see what I did as a very much like a placeholder UI. So to get some user data in, theoretically that's how I entered my own user data, so it worked. You just fill in a form with values like preferred wind range, riding styles, etc. And then you are kind of in the system and you will get alerts for sessions. And next step or next kind of side of my prototype was making the data structure. So in Google Sheets, I chose Google Sheets, and there I have tabs like user profiles, kite spots, forecast results, and notifications log, just to kind of keep track of what I'm doing, which data am I collecting. And I also have more specialized tabs for example, the gear of a user, but that is not filled out yet because that's kind of to be done in the future. Then this is my workflow, my actual workflow that you can see here on the right, that is chronologically triggered and just draws on the data that I have on the users, then it gets an API for the wind and so on. And I'm pretty happy with what it does. It finds the spot near a user, then it filters the spots and determines like the rideability based on the preferences of the user and the wind API, and then it logs opportunity windows. So okay, when is it actually possible to kite? Daytime, nighttime, where is the wind? And once there's the best opportunity, then this kind of gets passed on to the user as a mail. So that's the output of the prototype. You get like a mail, which is still not the best interface, but you get a mail where you have this as you can see here, spot information, the time information that is not matching up yet, because it is reading, I think, European time or like the central time with plus minus 0. So the spot, it's real wind data that this time is based on, but it is unfortunately way off, like the timing. And finally, I think that is about it. That's where I got with my prototype within 10 days. So I'm gonna get into like a little reflection here right now. And I can see that just in the process of making this, I generated a list of 30 items that like hold future ideas for improvement and fine-tuning. So to get something really like reliably usable, there's a lot more work to be done. And still I feel it is promising that I could make something that works with basically no prior knowledge in the field of programming, and in not even 10 days. So I'm quite pleased with that. And now moving on to the ethical considerations. In the next slides, I'd like to briefly touch on some ethical considerations and how to manage them. The more detailed user data, firstly, the more detailed user data is, the better wind matches are going to be there. So I have to handle user data with a lot of care and high transparency. That would be like a consideration. Second, concerning possible bias and risk, I have to ensure fair suggestions for all skill levels so that the AI doesn't put anyone at risk or exclude them from certain conditions due to skill filter, and that leads to third, like it's very important that the whole thing is transparent. The explainable AI logic behind it, I already have like a placeholder for that, where after logging the opportunity window, there is a column that says like, okay, explanation, why did you choose this option? And by now I only have the only logic I have by now is that it chooses the longest wind window, but it will be interesting to have way more complex explanations on why the system chose certain sessions. And yeah, it's important that this is transparent, and especially important when, say, a user has put themselves at danger blindly trusting the recommendations that the app gave them. Then it will be especially important, and first to avoid that obviously, but when it comes to that case, that I can understand why the app has made this suggestion for that user. And to kind of manage all these issues, I think it is important, or I will have a focus on data minimization, so that I only collect what's really necessary, no name, or that people can actually opt in on really having their email in the system. Then security, I don't know if using Google Sheets will hold up for the future if I really do this. So future hosting might include like a proper authentication and so on. And yeah, explainability, as I already touched on, it's very important to understand why certain choices have been made by the system, why certain things have been recommended, also to just get better at recommending. And last but not least, the user control, so that the user is actually, as I said, able to opt in for certain services, preferences, and can actually plan to pause notification also. And yeah, all of that should be possible for the user, and I want to make that very possible if I build this. Touching on key hurdles and some initial responses for those hurdles, it's going to be hard to integrate multiple AIs with stable performance. so what I'm gonna try to do is like build caches and layers for forecast and travel data. Then a harder thing is also going to be like the whole scale up for more users without the rate limits of getting like the API data that I need. And I also plan for that kind of thing to transition to other platforms where maybe I need to pay a little bit, but it's going to be worth it. And finally, it's important, or one of the hurdles is going to be balancing the whole user experience simplicity with the relatively complex backend logic. And for that, I'm planning to transition from N8N to a real prototype or agent platform. And now I'm coming towards the end of my presentation, and I want to finish with a quick summary. So the project AI Kite agent shows how AI can intelligently connect people with natural opportunities, and I'm pretty proud that I know or I kind of now have a prototype that already works with real users, real wind, and real-time notifications. And I have my list of a lot of things to come for further improvements, so the whole thing is designed to grow from the Sheets app into an intelligent agent in the future. Thank you everyone for your attention, and thank you for being in this course together. It's been really cool discussing things in the webinars, and thank you so much, Poonam, for the inputs, and I'm very happy to have been here in this course with you guys and have gotten this this inspiration for my new project, and I hope I'm going to keep kind of building it step by step. And yeah, see you soon and hope to keep in touch. Bye bye.